Welcome, John.
Thank you.
So, John, our readership is the CIO community. So, put those exciting announcements in the context of a CIO. Why should a CIO care?
Sure. Yeah. So we're at our next conference this week, and we've made some very big announcements. The biggest announcements that Hitachi Vantara has made from a portfolio perspective in a long time. And so I think when we look at what almost all of our customers are dealing with today, that their infrastructure is evolving from just being thought about as a data center issue to the cloud. So everyone's looking at hybrid cloud scenarios, both from a data management and compute optimization standpoint, more agility, the ability to work with the mix of resources there, and then also flexing their infrastructure out to the edge. So new areas like IoT and branch office computing and things like that, immersive customer experiences, really necessitating a view of infrastructure that goes from edge to core to cloud. So we've been very focused on the requirements of organizations that are dealing with that. And then the next part is really, how do you manage data in this new world? So, we've been talking a lot about that kind of infrastructure. Your infrastructure is more spread out for a lot of good reasons. You want to cost optimize, you want more agility, but that also means your data is more spread out than ever before. And we think there's a lot of opportunity to help customers really improve and accelerate the way data flows through their organizations, because that's a precursor for everything you want to do with analytics and AI and machine learning and everything else.
So, from an infrastructure perspective, obviously one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting announcement is the VSP 5000, and it's
right.
the enterprise level multi-tier storage solution.
Yeah, so that was what we called internally Project Jupiter. So we launched Project Jupiter, and it is the VSP 5000. And I think Hitachi's broke records a lot of times over the years, and we're doing that again, as you said, with performance, the most performance, the highest scale in terms of the amount of data in this new VSP 5000 system, and the highest reliability, 2 more nines of reliability. So all of the things that you look for from Hitachi from a reliability, performance, and scale. But what's really unique about this new VSP 5000 platform is the way it can really come into the data center and consolidate a lot of the different workloads that people have. So there's a lot of different types of applications and workloads that you have to provide a level of service for, everything from traditional ERP and mode 1, mode 2 kind of big data projects, data lakes, data analytics, AI, compute intensive. Mainframes are still in the environment in many cases. And we really designed the VSP 5000 to be able to accommodate all of those workloads. And how do we do that? Other vendors will say, well, we've got one solution for everything, one size fits all. Others will say, no, we've got a product for all of those different workloads. We designed the VSP 5000 so that it's highly configurable. So yes, it can scale to the highest end, but it can also scale up, scale down, scale out. So you can really right size it in terms of the performance and the scale that you need. And we can support mixed media, so you can do flash, you can do storage class memory, it's all NVMe, and you can also do disk. So you can cost optimize, and performance-wise, you can hit the right service levels in a very flexible way. And the other thing we really worked on for this release was the manageability and the ease of management. So organizations want to do more with their people, and we've made it a lot more. We've used a lot of analytics and AI approaches in the management of our own systems to make it easier, more self-automated, and be able to handle data management across different zones and different requirements, so that you can really start to look at this as the foundation for your data center that can handle all the different workloads at different service levels that are cost optimized and in a very manageable way. So it's a very exciting release for us. It's the biggest storage platform re-architecture that we've done in a long time, and there's been a lot of buzz about it here at the show.
And talking about buzz, another buzz is around data ops. I would love to hear your opinion about data ops and the whole concept around it, and why should it matter to a CIO?
It's really this challenge of how do you get the right data to the right place at the right time. And I think every organization feels the pain of not being able to get the data they need, not being able to get the data they need fast enough. And there's a stat that's been around the industry for a long time when you think about big data projects where they're trying to bring a bunch of data together and do some analytics and some data science. And the stat is, for most organizations, 80% of the time on those projects is spent just finding the data, discovering it, pulling it together, aggregating it, blending it so someone can actually do something with it and get some value out of it. You know, that's not going to fly for the long term, right? We have to change that. And so what we've been talking about is this idea that the approach to data management that starts with everything's a one-off project, and people don't have tools to collaborate and work together across the organization, that's got to change. So data ops is a response to that problem. And it's not something we invented. Data ops is really a discipline that organizations are starting to adopt about how do you get data to flow through an organization. And we're providing new tools and things we've announced this week around Lumada Data Services and some other new Lumada capabilities to help organizations accelerate the way they manage data so that you can, again, get data into the hands of people who are going to innovate with it more quickly. And there's a lot of issues around both the analytics side of that, but also the governance side. So the two go hand in hand. You really can't just open the floodgates and give everybody access to everything. You need to make sure that only the right people have access to the information that they should have access to. And when you do that and you've had those governance controls in place, the result is you can share a lot more effectively and you can collaborate a lot more effectively. So this is a huge issue. You can hardly pick up a business magazine these days without reading how AI is going to transform this industry or that industry. And we are certainly bullish on that potential. But the fly in the ointment, or the dirty little secret, is data management in the industry today is not delivering on that promise of just being able to get the data that people need so that all of this analysis and insight can be generated. So that's the big kind of problem we're trying to solve with these new announcements that we made with Lumada Data Services.
Looking at the product roadmap, what is Hitachi doing to stay ahead of the curve?
Yeah, well, another area we made announcements in this week was around cloud and hybrid cloud optimization. And I think, I said earlier, we really see the infrastructure being an edge to core to cloud world that everybody has to manage across. And the cloud, obviously, very important for most mid and large enterprises. And everybody's still working out how do you rationalize which applications you want to keep on-premise, which applications you want to have in the cloud, and working through that. And we have a set of capabilities now that we are bringing cloud managed services to market. And so we've been doing this for about a year and a half now, and we're accelerating that business, and we announced some new capabilities. And so we can help customers with that decision process of what goes where, how to cost optimize, how to rationalize for agility, and how to be able to migrate applications to the cloud, if that makes sense. And that's, you might take certain applications and move them to an AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. And we will work with customers on the data challenges around that, as well as the application refactoring. And a lot of times in that scenario, there's been a lot of companies who have just kind of done a lift and shift, they say, when you move the application to the cloud, but you don't really change anything. You're not buying yourself a whole lot there. In fact, your costs could actually go up in that scenario. The cloud isn't necessarily cheaper, but it does give you potential for agility. So you could dial up more resources more easily if you need them. But what we do, as opposed to just the lift and shift, is we can actually work with customers to refactor their applications so that you can take advantage of native cloud services, so services that AWS might provide or Azure provides. Then you're getting some real value out of that migration, and you can get more of the benefits there. So that's an area that's growing business for us, working with customers with our cloud managed services, and helping them with those migrations of applications and the optimization across this more distributed world that everybody's working with.
And how does the whole partner community play into that?
Partners are huge. We had over 600 partners here at the conference this week, and as we move more and more into data and interoperating with different data sources and different data tools, and the ecosystem of our partners becomes more and more important. We're working with systems integrators, with our resellers and VARs, so it's a big part of our success. And as I said, they're here at the conference with us, talking to customers, sharing the best practices and experience, and we certainly value our relationships with all of them.
If you have one key takeaway from the conference, just as an observer, not as an insider, what would that be?
The big theme is data. So the theme of the conference was made by data, and I think it's no surprise that this era, if you will, this century is really the century of data. If you say last century was about oil, it was the oil economy. Now we're in the data economy. And I think everybody's looking to see how can you get more insights, more actionable insights, faster from data. And that's very much been a common theme running through the conference from a lot of the attendees, and all these technologies that we're focused on and new products and everything are all in service to that goal.
And any final advice?
Yeah, I think we work with a lot of companies in areas like IoT, for example, which is a big opportunity for digital transformation initiatives because it throws off new business models and new ways of working. And I think the important thing there is really starting with the end in mind and not with the technology necessarily. And as part of that, we made an announcement that we're integrating Hitachi Vantara and Hitachi Consulting, and so we're bringing more expertise into those conversations directly around the Hitachi Vantara capabilities, and we're excited about that. But I think really starting with the business focus first on any kind of data related project, and then working back on the technology is something that tends to be a recipe for success as opposed to the alternative.
Thank you so much for your time, John.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it was great. Thanks.